I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts. But here we are. My wife and I have been married 5 years, together 8. She's the organized one, the planner, the person everyone trusts. I'm the laid-back one who forgets birthdays but never forgets how lucky I am to have her. At least, that's what I used to think. The first crack showed up the night she forgot our anniversary. Not, oh no, I'm so sorry, forgot. She genuinely looked confused when I mentioned it, checked her phone calendar, laughed awkwardly, said work had been crazy. After that, little things started shifting. She changed her phone password, started taking long walks at night, picked fights over nothing, and then apologized 10 minutes later, like she was scared I'd leave. I told myself marriage has seasons. I didn't know this season already had another man in it. The discovery happened because of a grocery receipt. I was doing laundry and found it in her jeans. Nothing special, except the timestamp said 11:47 p.m. And the store was across town, near a hotel district she never goes to. When I asked about it, she didn't hesitate. Said she'd gone with a co-worker after a late shift. Named a woman I actually know. That should have been the end of it, except the next week, I ran into that co-worker at a coffee shop and casually mentioned the late-night grocery run. She stared at me like I'd spoken another language. Said she hadn't seen my wife in weeks. That night, while my wife slept, I opened our shared iPad. She'd forgotten its sync messages. There was a thread with a man saved only as a fire emoji, and months of conversations about hotel rooms, secret lunches, and how my husband is sweet but boring. I confronted her the next morning. At first, she denied everything. Said the messages were jokes between friends. Said I was insecure. Said I was spying. Then she noticed one screenshot on my phone. Her face changed instantly. Not fear, calculation. She admitted to talking to him. Nothing physical. She said, just flirting, just stress. Then I asked why he'd sent her a picture of his bed. Silence. Then tears. Then anger. She told me the affair was my fault. That I stopped trying. That I never really saw her. That this man listened in ways I never had. And then she said the line that still echoes in my head. If you were a better husband, I wouldn't have needed him. She moved out 2 days later to give us space, but kept texting me nonstop. Long apologies, voice notes crying, promises to cut him off. Then, without warning, silence. For 3 days. On the 4th, I got a message from an unknown number. Hi, I think we need to talk about your wife. It was a fire emoji guy. He told me he had no idea she was married. Said she'd shown him a fake separation agreement. Said she cried in his arms about an emotionally abusive husband who ignored her. He sent screenshots. In one, she told him I had cheated on her years ago. In another, she said she was infertile and desperate for a family before it was too late. The twist? We'd just started fertility testing together. She'd been telling 2 completely different stories to 2 different men. And somehow, in both of them, she was the victim. When I confronted her with his messages, she didn't deny it. She shrugged, said she had to protect herself. Said men only understand drama. Said the truth would have scared him away. Then she dropped the next bomb. She said she was in love with him, not confused, not attached, in love. And then, quietly, she added that she'd already signed a lease with him. The part that broke me wasn't that she chose him. It was when she asked if I'd still help pay her credit card debt. Since you care about my future, right? That night, I finally snapped. I packed every photo of us into a box, left it on the kitchen table, and sent her one text. Don't contact me again unless it's through a lawyer. She replied with a heart emoji. The emotional crash came fast and brutal. I stopped eating. Lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Woke up every night at 3 a.m. convinced I dreamed the whole thing. Then another twist. Her mother called me crying. Apparently, my wife had told her family that I was the one cheating, that I'd abandoned her for a younger co-worker, that she was bravely starting over. I sent her mother the screenshots. There was a long silence, then a whisper, "Oh my God." Turns out, Her parents had already paid a deposit on that apartment with the other man. Thought they were helping their heartbroken daughter escape a bad marriage. Within a week, her family cut her off. The fire emoji guy left too, once he realized he'd been auditioned as a replacement husband. She came back begging. Said she'd made a mistake. Said she finally saw the truth. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel anything at all. She showed up at my door with a suitcase and red eyes, acting like nothing had happened, like we were just a couple coming back from a bad fight. She tried to hug me. I stepped back. She started talking fast about how lonely she'd been, about how the other man had used her, about how she'd realized I was the only one who ever truly loved her. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. She said she might be pregnant. Again. This time, she said she didn't know whose it was. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because something inside me finally broke clean in half. I told her she couldn't come in, that if she was pregnant, she needed to talk to a doctor and a lawyer, not me. She dropped the suitcase in the hallway and slid down the wall, sobbing. 10 minutes later, when she realized I wasn't changing my mind, the crying stopped instantly. She stood up, wiped her face, and said calmly, "You're going to regret this." 2 days later, the rumors started. Friends asking why I'd kicked my pregnant wife out. Co-workers looking at me differently. One of her cousins messaged me a long paragraph about how disappointed they were in me. She'd posted on social media a vague story about betrayal, abandonment, and finding strength after being discarded by the man I trusted most. No names, no details, just enough to make me the villain. I wanted to defend myself so badly, to upload screenshots, to expose everything. My lawyer told me not to. Then another twist. The pregnancy story vanished. No more mentions. No doctor visits. No updates. A mutual friend later told me she'd admitted, drunk, that she'd invented it to make me stay. That was the moment I realized something terrifying. She wasn't panicking. She was strategizing. The divorce process turned into psychological warfare. She claimed I was emotionally abusive, said I control her money, said I isolated her from friends. None of it was true, but every accusation meant more paperwork, more hearings, more time. Then my lawyer called with a strange tone in his voice. Apparently, she'd filed a claim saying I owed her spousal support because she'd quit her job to support my career. She hadn't. She'd quit because she was fired for skipping work to meet the other man. We subpoenaed her work records. The truth came out in black and white. She'd been written up twice for lying about sick days. The judge didn't say much, but the look he gave her was enough. For the first time since it started, the story she built finally began to collapse, and I started to believe I might actually survive this. The next twist came from a place I never expected. My bank. I logged in one morning and nearly choked on my coffee. Our joint savings account was almost empty, not slowly drained. Emptied in 3 transfers made at 2:13 a.m. When I called her, she didn't deny it. She said she needed the money to survive. Said it was technically half hers. Said I was lucky she didn't take more. Except the transfers had gone to an account in her name only. An account she'd opened 6 months earlier. While we were still happy. While we were still trying for a baby. My lawyer filed an emergency motion that afternoon. Then came the biggest twist yet. The fire emoji guy contacted me again. He said she'd shown up at his place crying, asking him to take her back. When he refused, she threatened to tell the police he'd assaulted her. He recorded the conversation and sent it to me. For the first time, I saw the way everyone else must have. Calm, manipulative, dangerous. I realized that this divorce wasn't just about betrayal. It was about protecting myself. Court moved faster after that. My lawyer submitted the recordings, the fake pregnancy evidence, the bank transfers, the work records. Her lawyer suddenly became very quiet. At the next hearing, she tried a new strategy. She apologized, publicly, in front of the judge, said she was unstable, said she'd made mistakes, said she still loved me and wanted to reconcile. She even reached for my hand. I pulled it back. The judge ordered a financial audit and temporary restraining order. After court, she followed me to the parking lot, smiled softly, and whispered, "If I can't have you, I'll make sure no one ever does." I slept with my phone, recording audio for weeks after that. Then another twist. Her parents called. They wanted to meet. When I went, they slid an envelope across the table. Inside were documents, proof she'd done this before. 2 ex-boyfriends, 1 former fiancé. Same pattern, same accusations, same timing. One of them had even paid a settlement to make the lies go away. Suddenly, everything made horrifying sense. The final months were strangely calm. Once her history came out, her entire case unraveled. The judge denied spousal support, ordered her to return the stolen money, granted me full control of the remaining assets, and approved the divorce without contest. No apology from her, no goodbye. She disappeared from my life the same way she lived in it, quietly rewriting her story somewhere else. 6 months later, I ran into one of her old friends. She told me my ex had moved to another city. New job, new man, already engaged. I felt nothing. Here's how I'll end this, because I know someone reading this needs it. Love shouldn't make you doubt your sanity. If someone lies to everyone else, they'll lie to you last. Document everything. Trust patterns. Leave when the story keeps changing. I didn't just escape a cheating spouse. I escaped becoming the next man she destroyed. And for the first time in years, I finally feel safe. 6 months after I posted my original story, I thought my life had finally gone quiet. Then I got a letter. Handwritten, no return address. Inside was a single page that started with, "I know you think you won." My hands were shaking before I finished the first paragraph. She wrote that therapy had opened her eyes, that she forgave me for what I did to her, that she was engaged now, pregnant for real this time, and happier than she'd ever been. Then the twist line, "But sometimes I still dream about you, and I know you miss me too." At the bottom, she'd written her new phone number, not asking, assuming. I stared at it for a long time before tearing the paper into pieces and throwing it away. That was the moment I understood something important. She didn't want me back. She just needed to know she could still reach me. A week later, my lawyer called again. Apparently, she tried to reopen part of the settlement, claiming she'd signed under emotional distress. At the same time, she told her new fiancé that I was still harassing her. The judge shut it down in 10 minutes. But here's the twist I didn't expect. Her fiancé contacted me, said she'd told him I was violent, that I stalked her, that I was obsessed. He'd found my old Reddit post. Every detail matched, except the villain. He asked me one question. Was any of it true? I sent him the same folder I'd once sent HR. Screenshots, recordings, court documents. He never replied. 3 days later, her engagement photos disappeared from social media. The real ending came quietly. No courtroom, no confrontation. Just a mutual friend telling me she'd been fired again, that her family barely spoke to her, that she'd moved apartments 3 times in a year. Still telling the same story. Still the victim. Still searching for someone new to save her from consequences. And for the first time, I felt something close to peace. Not happiness. Peace. Here's my final update for anyone still reading. Some people don't cheat because they're unhappy. They cheat because they need chaos. They need control. They need someone else to carry their shame. If you're in a relationship where reality keeps changing, where you're always apologizing but never understanding why, leave. You're not crazy. You're just with someone who survives by rewriting lives, including yours. And walking away is the only ending where you win. A few weeks after that final update, I really thought it was over. But apparently life likes epilogues. Almost a year had passed. I barely thought about her anymore. I changed jobs, moved to a different neighborhood, started dating a woman who laughed sincerely and didn't hide her phone, even when she went into the shower. And then another twist. A stranger messaged me on Facebook. "Sorry to bother you, but were you married to her name?" It turned out she was the sister of my ex's new husband. They had just gotten married. And And now she suspected her brother wasn't the first. She found my old Reddit post. She asked only one thing. Is she really that dangerous? I stared at the screen for a long time, and for the first time, I decided not to stay silent. I didn't write a long story. I just sent her the folder. The same one. Screenshots, audio, court documents, the fake pregnancy, the threats, the bank transfers. 2 days later, she called me, crying. She said her brother had found messages on my ex's phone with 2 more men. One was her boss. The other was an ex. She was pregnant, and she didn't know who the father was. The wedding was annulled. The family split apart again. And that's when I realized something strange and terrifying. I was no longer the main character in her stories. I had become just another piece of evidence. The last contact happened by accident. I ran into her at a grocery store. She was standing in line with a big pregnant belly and looked tired, older, empty. Our eyes met. She smiled, that same soft, familiar smile, and said, "You look good. I always knew you'd be fine without me." No, I'm sorry. No, I ruined your life. Just another attempt to leave a mark. I nodded and walked away. This is my real ending. I'm not angry anymore. I don't want revenge. I don't want her to suffer. I just don't want to be part of her stories anymore. And if you've read this far, here's my final advice. The most dangerous people aren't the ones who scream. They're the ones who cry very convincingly. Love should not feel like an investigation. And if you ever feel like reality keeps shifting around someone, chances are someone is rewriting it on purpose. I walked away. And this time, forever.